Hey, good evening, Jefferson County. This is Chris Lowery, your independent candidate for Jefferson County Sheriff 2026. I just wanted to jump on here for a few minutes and let you know that tomorrow night's live at 6:30. What I want to be talking to you about is how we can keep the community safe by being tough on crime and running a safe, efficient jail within our law enforcement and partnering with our law enforcement partners to rebuild trust within the community that we serve. This campaign is about leadership and experience and moving the sheriff's office forward together. So I just want to kind of let everybody know, look forward till tomorrow night for our live, as we go live every Monday at 6:30 and try to answer your questions as much as we can. I see we got about 8 people on here tonight. So if anybody has a few moments to spend with me, just to ask any questions that they might need to be answering or wondering about my candidacy for Jefferson County Sheriff, I'd be glad to answer those questions tonight. Just let you know a little bit more about what's going on tomorrow as our weekly live starts at 6:30. I go live every Monday at 6:30 as an opportunity for the citizens of Jefferson County to get with us and discuss with me about any questions they have about my candidacy and what my platform is, and talk about those points to you directly. And not just talk about it, but explain to you our program and our processes that we're going to be putting into place as far as being tough on crime, having a safe, efficient jail within the Dub Brazel Detention Center, working with our law enforcement cohorts with the local, state, and federally to make sure that this program goes off without a hitch. It takes one team, one fight to combat this severe problem that we have, the highest crime rate in the state. We are worse than 99% of other counties out there. So this is the approach that we need to really take a serious look at and be able to start there, because I believe that with combating the high levels of crime that we have is going to filter down and make our economic impact, our tax base go up, where people are spending money within our community. Our education system will improve. I just believe that's where we need to start at. So there's great news this week. We got a new chief of police at Pine Bluff. Chief Sean Davis was promoted to the chief of police at Pine Bluff. I think that's a great start. I think that's a great place to be. He has a good vision for where we want to take the city of Pine Bluff, which is our county seat of Jefferson County, and that's where a majority of our crime comes from. So we definitely want to be able to partner with the county's largest agency, the Pine Bluff Police Department, and help them out in their endeavors as we move forward. So great opportunities there for us to start really working with other agencies and getting this crime level down at an all-time low. So as everybody has listened to me in the past, we talk about what I'm doing, which is being tough on crime, having a safe, efficient jail operations, and then partnering with our local, state, and federal agencies to ensure that we are able to work as one team, one fight against this epidemic of high crime rates within Jefferson County, where we are receiving an F, ladies and gentlemen. We are receiving an F grade in that, and that's just not good, which I think by combating this crime, it's going to help establish, get our community trust back within law enforcement and develop those relationships even further than they have been in the past. Plan on being completely and totally transparent as much as possible with our community. And, I just want to be a sheriff that listens to the community and take their direction and their inputs, right? So that's really what we want to be able to do. And I just want to jump on here. I had a few moments tonight as I'm sitting down here working in the studio on some other projects. Want an opportunity to go live and promote that tomorrow's night's live. We'll be discussing in depth, what that program looks like about being tough on crime. And then we'll move into the safe, efficient jail operations. And I'll answer questions about any and all of it. What you're asking from me as far as my perspective and my experiences within the Jefferson County government, law enforcement in general, as well as I would love to hear from you on what your experiences are and what you could see as betterment for our community. Because, ladies and gentlemen, unlike some people, this is definitely my belief that this is our community, and we definitely want to listen to our community, understand what their perspectives are, what their issues are. I've gotten a lot of feedback over my candidacy so far anywhere from slow response times for unincorporated areas to lack of cooperation and collaboration with other agencies, lack of leadership is what I'm hearing as well from some people within the county government. Citizens are telling me that they're worried about transparency and the lack of transparency. And I have a plan laid out that I can explain to you in depth at any time on one of our lives. So thank you so much for joining us tonight. I just had the opportunity, like I said, I'm sitting down here in my little studio, and I thought, man, what a better time than now than to try to jump on there and see if anybody has any burning questions that they have about my candidacy for sheriff and explain some things to you. I would like to take the opportunity to, you do have a March primary coming up. I think it's March the 3rd. I'll double check that date. But in March, there is a primary for this election season of 2026 that will be coming up. It's a very important primary. There's a county judge's race. There are 2 of the 3 sheriff's candidates will be in that primary. Sheriff Woods and Mr. Cannon will be facing against each other during that Democrat primary. Don't worry that you don't see my name on the primary if you're not that familiar with how the primary works. I have chosen to run as an independent candidate. I've explained it several times. Feel free to ask me questions and I'll explain it again. And that is simply put that as a sheriff, the top law enforcement official within the county that they serve, I do not feel that political party partisanship belongs in that race. So independent is what I chose to do. The other 2 are running on Democrat tickets, so they will have to be in the primary. So as we move forward in that race, if you vote in that primary, just look at your candidates closely, right? So there is, I think it's 6 county judge candidates, several JP candidates for each different district that they serve, and then some city, I believe there's some city alderman positions as well in that. So look at all the candidates. This is not just about me. This is about us as a community, a complete and total community of getting back involved, more involved, and holding our elected officials accountable. So as this race moves forward, I really encourage you to look at every candidate, look at what their qualifications are, look at what their policies, procedures, and programs align with your values, what you're looking for, and what you feel could be best move forward in Jefferson County. The biggest thing that I can tell you that is I've heard throughout the course of this candidacy for me is that people are demanding change. They're sick and tired of the same same people being put in office and nothing changing. Just the lack of transparency, the lack of leadership, the lack of cooperation with other elected officials. They're tired of being the black eye of Arkansas with how the county government is being ran. So I think that it's time everybody's just wanting to move forward and change. And I think that I can do my part by running for an elected official position that I'm qualified for, and that's the sheriff's office. With my 22 years of law enforcement experience, my criminal justice degree, my certifications that I have in the state of Arkansas, and my work history and record speaks for itself as far as I'm a qualified, firm, fair, and consistent law enforcement individual that is well suited for the position of Jefferson County. So as we move forward in this, I have made myself available to you through my cell phone, 870-556-0330, as well as I do these weekly live podcasts and lives to give you an opportunity to interact with me, ask questions, and what have you. Tonight is, if you got questions, feel free to come on with them. That's fine. I will never turn down a question. I believe every question deserves to be answered, and I don't believe that there is no such thing as a question that is too tough. Tonight's purpose was really just to had a few moments as I'm sitting down here in my broadcast area and said, why not now? What's a better time to go on there and promote tomorrow night's live? Every Monday at 6:30, 18:30 for you military folks, you 24-hour clock folks, 6:30 p.m., 18:30 military time. I'll be going live, and I'll spend as much time with you as you would like. It generally goes a little over an hour. We get a lot of good content, get a lot of questions answered and or asked, and then I get a lot of good feedback. So hopefully everybody's been having a happy new year so far. crime rate has started off in Jefferson County as it's continued, right? We've had a couple of shootings, a couple of felonious type crimes happen. And, 2026 is the year for change, ladies and gentlemen. It is the year for change, right? So we have got to use our voice, use our vote to get the leaders into our government that is willing to change the tide, change the direction of Jefferson County. So that's what this election season is going to be all about. Tomorrow night, we will be talking about how I will be using my platform to be tough on crime, explain to you how crime hurts families and neighborhoods and businesses. Being tough on crime equals accountability, but it's fair, right? Accountable for people's actions. And then as well as explaining and protecting victims and law-abiding citizens, how we come first. Citizens of Jefferson County deserve to be placed first. Above people that choose to act outside of the laws and the boundaries of societal norms. And then we may get into a little bit more about the Dub Brazel Detention Center, about how the safety for officers, staff, inmates, and the public is critical. And I feel like we've been lacking in that for some time now, specifically in the past most recent months. We all are aware of some major things that have been going on within the Dub Brazel Detention Center. And so through my leadership experience and the team that I will develop and bring in, we will be able to have efficient operations, which will ultimately ensure safety amongst loved ones that are locked away and incarcerated in the Dub Brazel Detention Center. But also the efficient operations, will aid in reducing risk to taxpayer costs. And then we will have professional management to prevent repeat offenses. I've discussed in length and past about my jail advisory board that I'm already interviewing, picking, and vetting to be on this board, so that day one, when we go into office, January of 2027, that we can hit the ground running. Because ladies and gentlemen, I know I've said it before, but as you look at your candidates for the sheriff's office, the sheriff has no place for an OJT job. It is not designed for OJT. It's not designed. You don't need a leader that doesn't know how to be a law enforcement professional. So I have that down pretty pat. I believe that most people that have interacted with me and worked with me will tell you that I'm firm, fair, and consistent. I hold people accountable, but I enforce the law in a fair, compassionate way. So I have that down. And then now we will have the jail team, the jail advisory board already ready to go to cut down on recidivism within our county, which is a huge problem. And then, that all transcends into working with the community. All right, looks like we're getting a couple questions. Let's see. Kim, welcome, Lori. What do you think about the people who are stating that the sheriff's office never patrols the area where the unfortunate happened at the liquor store? I have saw several say they never seen any police out there. Kim, I think that's a crying shame. That's an unfortunate incident that happened out there for sure. And just because police are present doesn't mean that, major violent crimes don't happen. But I sure believe it deters it. And if citizens are saying it, I do not live out that direction. I believe that was out on 63, but I saw it like you did, that people's comments are their comments, and they're saying they never see law enforcement out there. So if they're not seeing deputies out there, if they're not seeing the presence of law enforcement, I think that's a lack of leadership. I think that's a lack of command structure, and I think that's a lack of resources utilization, right? So I think you can realign some people if you're short in patrol and you're not able to cover all your areas. Then I believe that you need to do some realignment from some administrative positions or some what I call back office positions, detectives offices, services division, what have you. I've discussed about it in length about cutting fat, right? Every job, sometimes you have some fat in there and you need to be more lean. You need to work with what you got. And that looks like this. If you have 5 people in an office, that 4 people could do that job almost or pretty dang close to as efficient as those 5, then you realign some things and move one out to create more patrol positions. Because I will tell you, in my history of being a law enforcement professional, I have consistently said this, and I will not change my idea on this until I'm been proven wrong. And I challenge anybody to step up and prove me wrong. And that is simply this, is that you can detect, you can provide services from a patrol car. However, you cannot patrol from a detective's desk or behind the brick wall of a building and behind your desk sitting in an office, right? So I will be definitely looking at ways to realign people in positions and lay out responsibilities and give a clear, defined direction on what the expectation is. Because, you know, we're the 7th or 8th largest county landmass wise and population wise. And you know, that is something I'm hearing consistently, is that people are not seeing law enforcement in their unincorporated areas. I've heard it since day one. I've heard it from, you know, farmers. I've heard it from just people that live in the rural areas. I've heard everything from they've had side-by-side stolen and can't get a report filed. I've seen, you know, the comments and been sent direct messages about how they have not seen law enforcement in that area in quite some time, you know. And so I believe, you know, the fix to that is increasing the number of deputies on the streets. That does not mean, because I know people are going to try to twist my words, that does not mean that I think I can go in and hire a bunch of other people, because if it's not been budgeted for, that's the case. You can't do that. You have to budget for things. This is like a business as far as, you know, running within a balanced budget and running with what you've been allocated. However, what that means is that me as the sheriff, I'll go out and patrol. My chief deputy will go out and patrol. My majors will go out and patrol. My captains will go out and patrol. My lieutenants will go out and patrol. The detectives, if they are so slammed, you know, based off of their caseload that they can't go out regularly, or there is no fat to trim from those positions, then I believe there's ways to realign their work day, their work week, to allow for some of them to get out and do some patrolling duties and some proactive policing and presence as well, some community involvement. So there's definitely ways to do that. I can go by the sheriff's office at any given time, and it seems like there is a whole lot of people inside that building, and I know you can't police from inside that building that well. That's my opinion and my perspective, and I'm standing on that. You know, that's just been my experience. I have been too many times in my career that we're out, you know, we're low staffed in patrol. You know, we're working with 2 to 4 bodies, while the people in a Monday through Friday, 8 to 5 type position go home. I don't think that's fair to the citizens. I believe there is a way that you can align those hours and those staffing to accommodate for that while ensuring officer safety, right? So I have a whole plan on how that will work. So that's unfortunate that people are feeling like they're not getting service. So let's see, Kim. I haven't seen the current administration make comments on that yet. So yeah, I think it's fair to say that, Kim. I hadn't seen any comments on that particular situation either. I have seen in the past few months the lack of comments or transparency they make on a lot of incidents. The tragic situation where some people got murdered in the jail. There was to my knowledge, there was one, I guess you would say, public statement made, not from the sheriff himself, but I do feel like that there should be more transparency, more communication with the public. And what is your plan? I'm telling you what my plan is. I'm telling you how I will get more people on the streets, and I will increase productivity and will increase response time drastically from, day one, week one. So, hey, Lachey, welcome. I've always said this, and I firmly believe everything rides and falls on leadership. 100%. Shay, you know me well enough. I believe that as well. Leaders lead, followers follow. Followers want leaders, and they need them, right? And I am the type of person that leads from the front, the tip of the spear, have all intentions, experience, and know-how to come in day one and lead by example, right? So I'm not the all-knowing. However, I do have a lot of knowledge. I bring a team with me. I have a background and a history that has the ability to work within all situations. And if I don't know, I have somebody who does, and we can get to the answer. I just did that last night. And an example on dealing with the situation. It kind of goes with leadership, training, experience, fairness amongst the law, right? So, had a situation where I believed that we should be able to uh, issue warnings for some minor criminal non-victim where society is the victim, issue warnings for those type of offenses. There was some disagreement upon that. I've looked at Arkansas Rules of Criminal Procedure. I'm not seeing anything differently on that. I've spoken with some well-versed attorneys. They're not aware of anything on it. So that's something I'm trying to do, is push that through leadership, that's a way that we can hold people accountable, right? I've talked about that. I've talked about holding people accountable for breaking the law, violating societal norms, so that the rest of society can enjoy their daily activities, right? I think that's what accountability is all about. We're, as a society, we have to have rules and laws and procedures in place that we can all get along. So I 100% agree with your statement that it's all about leadership. Leadership, everything rises and falls on leadership. I agree with you so much. I think that's a well-worthy highlighted comment, Shay. Thank you so much. Kim, I do appreciate you and your comments as well. Your questions are always great. I am so glad that you are holding me accountable and giving me the opportunity to give you answers as well. So let you know about my platform. I apologize. I was reading something there that told me some of the comments may not be visible or what have you. So I believe everybody's seeing them. I'm looking on here. I do use a software that allows me to stream on both my personal page and my Chris Lowery for Jefferson County Sheriff Facebook page, as well as YouTube. And somebody told me last week that they were not able to see all of the comments. So comment so far was Lori waved at me. Kim had a comment right here. I'll show it. This is the one that I answered briefly about, areas not saying that they're not seeing patrol, right? They just had a tragic, felonious, violent offense that happened 2 days ago. And she was asking about people saying they're not seeing the presence of police. I addressed that and what my plan will be moving forward on that. So this is about serving the citizens of the community. This is not about a political job. It is political as far as you are elected by the citizens. But ladies and gentlemen, make no bones about it. I'm not a politician. I'm not going to be worried about what dinner or what fundraiser I attend to. I will be worried about serving the citizens of Jefferson County. And that means in a law enforcement capacity, being a law enforcement professional through and through, and then doing the political dinner, party, fundraiser, quorum court meetings, government type of events that I am required to do and need to do. But first and foremost, it will be about the citizens and serving them, whether it's in a services capacity, a proactive capacity, a responsive capacity, whatever. But the citizens of Jefferson County will see a drastic improvement in police presence. I have different ideas and different plans to make that happen. To go back into that, Kim, I have specifically laid out a plan in the past about north of the river on what I would like to do and how I would be able to put more cars on the streets, more boots on the ground type situation. And I believe that will work. And that'll be working with the small municipalities that are north of the river, such as Altimer, Humphrey, Wabaseka, and as well as I believe that's an opportunity to put more money in a deputy's pocket. There has been comments about the pay is not very good, or people are always worried about their paychecks. And so that's kind of a twofold plan I have there for north of the river. And I believe there's opportunities to do that as south of the river as well. And I will be talking with local communities about that itself, right? So over here on the south of the river, you do have Pine Bluff Police Department, the Jefferson County Sheriff's Office headquartered over here, the Pine Bluff Police Department, the Whitehall Police Department, and the Redfield Police Department, right? And those agencies all seem to have a great working mutual aid agreement that allows those agencies to service the areas in a reactive position if a deputy is not able to get there in a timely manner. However, I'm looking for more proactive, more presence, more community oriented, and ways to put more badges on the streets within the community. So that's the goal. That's what I'll be able to do as we move forward. So Kristen says right here that you see them more in the city and less further out in the county currently. And, I think that's a crying shame. As I was working for my agency now, I don't say what that agency is because I don't want to get in any trouble. Some of you know who that is, but it is what it is. Let's not say it. It's easy to figure out if you want to, but I do not want to put their name out there. I love working at that agency. I think they do a phenomenal job. I think their leadership is good. I think we're trying to move in the right direction. Again, trying to move in the right direction. However, I mentioned that only because I'm a field training officer and I train new officers, recruits, rookies, boots, whatever you want to call them, to depend upon your agency or your background or your lingo. But just last night, I was training a young officer, and she saw a couple county cars in the city, and she said, "Why do I always see them in the city and I don't see them in the outlying areas? It seems like there's more and more of them in the city." What I would say to that, Christian, if you're seeing that, if this officer I was training is seeing that, I've seen that, I think that's a problem. Now, the odd thing is that I've been told by deputies that they're told to not work in the city. I don't know why they're in the city. I don't know why they're told not to work in the city as well. I believe that, or as a matter of fact, I know that the city of Pine Bluff, the city of Whitehall, city of Redfield, all of those cities fall within Jefferson County. So people voted, people cast their vote to get the current sheriff and the current administration in there. So why would they not provide services as well within their city? I think that's a crying shame if they're not doing it. What I think they're doing is riding around, not working, right? I think they come in, get things to eat. I think they go to the office and tend to this, that, and the other. I've heard situations where they have certain things in their car they can work on, but due to budgetary issues where they've not been able to pay certain bills, report systems are not working in their car, so they're traveling back to the sheriff's office to do whatever reports they need to be. That's a problem. Every minute that they're traveling back to the city, every minute that they're having to spend in the office to do their report, unlike agencies that I work for, where we have the ability and the capability and the expectation is to write from our car, is to do citations, reports, research, whatever administrative stuff we need to do, we have the ability to do that right from our car, right? So if they're having to come back in the city and they're having to go back to the sheriff's office to do that, well, that's taking them out of the community and goes right back to the point where Kim asked earlier about people saying they're not seeing them out in the outlying areas, no police presence. How this looks to you, what I would say, if you're a non-police officer and you're not real familiar with it, what that looks like is, let's say I respond out on, I don't know, let's just say Evans Road, which is out in the county, and I have to take a report and do the service that citizen needed, whether they had a theft or a crime happened to them, whatever that looked like, deal with that, provide them a professional service, get it set up where it can be investigated properly. I will teach our patrolmen how to investigate. And then it will also transcend into our investigations division. But as you move away from that citizen who needed your services, then you go either out in front of their house, down the road, a visible presence parking lot where people can see, pull over in your car, work on those reports, work on those administrative things that you need to do, those knocked out, and then put miles on the car. Go back, stop in and see your businesses. Go up and down these county roads. Stop and visit with neighbors. Stop and visit with the community. let the presence be known. So blue lights are a deterrent. I don't know of a criminal that purposely and intentionally hangs out in an area where they know the presence is heavily involved with the police. They tend to stay away from those areas. So I think increasing the number of people on the road, increasing their efficientness through technology, and clear direction of what the expectation is. I'm about as transparent as they come. I'll tell you that my current car, the agency that I work for, I'm not able to do reports so much like what I talked about, just due to a technical glitch that is specific with my car. So I hold those until later in the evening, towards the latter part of shift, and get those knocked out before I go home, so I can still provide the service, respond to calls, and do some proactive policing for the citizens of which that agency services. So there's multiple ways to do it. I listen and have the ability to monitor things that go on within the county, and I don't always agree with what I'm hearing on the other end of that radio as far as response times goes and decisions they make about not responding. So Kim, I think you might know a little bit about that. Anyway, I'm not trying to bash anybody. I'm just telling you what would happen underneath the Lowery administration. I'm telling you that if another agency requested our response, and if the call volume afforded for that to happen, we would be responding. If you're on here, you know what I mean by that. So that's just how it looks differently. That's what leadership looks like. Laying out a clear expectation, a sheriff's intent. In the military, I call that a commander's intent. This is what we will do. You shall do this, and this is how we're going to accomplish it. Now, that is not heavy-handedly. That will be discussed amongst, from the lowest to the highest about what they've been doing, bringing in fresh ideas on how we could do it differently and better. Because, again, my candidacy has nothing to do with the current sheriff as a person. It has to do with what I have believed that we have failed in our leadership through the sheriff's office. I believe that the sheriff's office leadership has failed the community. I believe that over the past 7 years, crime rate has went through the roof. They've done a decent job at participating in community events, and they've done a failure at suppressing crime, working with other agencies, being proactive, and having leadership that gives them clear, defined direction on what is expected to be a deputy for the sheriff of Jefferson County. So there will be no bones about it. I'll be clear about that. Be firm, fair, and consistent, just like I am with the citizens, right? So accountability on both parts. There's accountability on people that violate the law. There's accountability on employees. There's accountability on law-abiding citizens as well, right? So we'll blend those things together so it makes a good cohesive environment for Jefferson County. Again, you hear me say this numerous times. It is about making this a destination county instead of a county where people want to leave. I don't know about you, ladies and gentlemen, but I'm sick and tired of when I tell somebody I live in, Jefferson County. They say, "Where's that?" I say, "Well, Pine Bluff." And I say that because that's the largest city, and that generally gives people an idea if they're not understanding, and they snarl their nose, right? So we are not doing a good job at Jefferson County as far as running the government, combating crime, having a efficient jail, and having community involvement. So I believe in having you hold me accountable. I believe in me holding the criminal, the citizens, and the employees accountable. And then I think that will make us a better county government as well. Kristen says accountability is everything. I agree, Kristen. I think that so much. Some people don't like being held accountable, and it's human nature sometimes that when people hold you accountable, you start backstepping, sidestepping, or making excuses. Under my administration, it won't be about that. It's, I call it falling on the sword. It is what it is. If we make mistakes, if we do something that is not, the way it's supposed to be done, or if we stumble, we own it. Whether you work for me, you own it. Whether it's me as the elected official, I'll own it, right? So we're not all infallible, for sure. We will have some growing pains, and we will recover and do a better job, right? So Kim, yes. If you go back to my Kim's statement, there is they say, "Oh, crime bluff." It is embarrassing. If you go back to a podcast interview I did on the Real Underground Radio with Nate, Big Nate from Nate Baker, uh, you know, I try not to use foul language on here, but that just should piss you off when people say that, because the name of the town is Pine Bluff. It ain't Crime Bluff. It ain't any other name. It is Pine Bluff. But what I also add to that is I feel like that in ways we all had a part, we all played a part in that happening. I like to say we earned that, whether that was us as a community looking the other way, not holding elected officials or criminals accountable, not demanding transparency, not demanding accountability, not demanding our prosecutors to prosecute to the fullest extent of the law, not demanding our county government to pass budgets, not, you know, that's where right? So part of it is elected officials have not done their due diligence in their part, making Jefferson County all that it can be. But we as citizens have consistently elected those individuals to continue to do the same old, same old. So that's why 2026, we've got to change. We have got to change. We have got to put people in there like myself that are willing to step up, that are not politicians by nature, that have at least the ability to understand what needs to be done, the leadership to guide others to make it happen, the compassion to work with others to make it happen, the empathy to work with the community that is impoverished with poverty and crime to get us in a step forward instead of a step backwards. I just don't know how to say it. It frustrates me sometimes when we don't align our priorities with where they need to be. When we talk about raising taxes or building go-kart tracks or having this celebration day, right? When we haven't celebrated anything, we haven't done anything that is true celebratory, right? We need to, first and foremost, let's really try to get the community involved where they'll take care of, their property, where people don't think it's okay to just throw trash anywhere and everywhere around here, right? Where people don't think it's okay to smoke marijuana out in public, drive while intoxicated, smoke weed while driving a car. We got to change people's perspective, right? And that's where I say we earn that. So when we give an inch and they take a mile, and then we just give another inch and they take another mile. Well, we've given 2 inches and they've taken 2 miles. Well, ladies and gentlemen, we are so far beyond that, it's crazy. So it's time to let's put it in reverse, make a hard left, correct our wrongs. So, hey, Lori, many citizens are afraid of getting involved in reporting crimes. How you as a sheriff and new administration encourage citizens' involvement and make our county safer? Great question, Lori. So I will do that in a multitude of different ways. So obviously we'll have crime prevention phone numbers. I put my cell phone number out there. That cell phone number will not change when I become the sheriff, 870-556-0330. We will have our website. We'll have crime reporting procedures where you can do it anonymously. I will encourage and conduct citizens police or citizens deputies academies so people can understand what is needed of law enforcement, what a day in the life of a law enforcement officer is like, and break down to them how their involvement could drastically reduce crime as well. I will also go back a little old school and try to reinvent the wheel with our neighborhood watch programs, having those led by deputies being assigned specific areas, neighborhoods, districts, okay, and facilitating that will allow those deputies, sergeants, lieutenants, everybody in the sheriff's office will play a part. Well, that will allow them to grow as leaders, right? That will allow them to grow as a person who develops plans of actions that work with those small entities, neighborhood watches, citizens police academies, and communities as a whole, right? That'll grow the deputy, but it will also build that relationship where people know they can come to us in confidence. The other thing will be is that if our deputies will be allowed and entrusted, if they're given tips and information, the expectation will be to follow up on that, whether that's themselves and do an intel report to get that back to their supervisors, or if they don't know how to do that, to be trained and educated on that, right? So the best way I can answer that, Lori, is simply we will utilize our resources, okay, to work with the citizens and show them that a involved community is a safer community. So I believe that being transparent with them and just not blabbing our mouths, right? If you, Lori, come to us with a crime tip, we don't go down the road and knock on the door and say, well, Lori Castleberry said blah, 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 blah. We monitor, document, communicate, get involved, right? That's the steps of that. Just because somebody says it doesn't mean you just run down there either, but you take that intel gathering, develop a plan, make an operational plan that's effective within the community about it. So I believe by breaking up, so the county's already broke up into districts. I believe you can subcategory those districts out into divisions or communities and assign those to people. You got over 100 employees that work at the sheriff's office. So if you break that down through their feedback, through the community's feedback on what they need, as well as the training education, and then what the employee, the deputy, brings to the table with their expertise, I think I can match that up pretty well and be able to get community involved with the sheriff's office, like I said, from the Citizens of Police Academy to neighborhood watches to just direct community involvement from our deputies, right? So it's all about relationships. We know through our history that if we have a relationship with a person, we are more confident in speaking with them and trusting into the information I give them and working with them and come to their aid quicker. You know, the closer the relationship, the better that you will work together. So community policing and getting to know people and the community builds rapport and trust. Yes, Kristen, so much. I try to do that daily. My goal every day when I go out is to meet somebody new and just throw a wave or a smile or a pleasantry towards them. If I have to interact with them on a criminal or traffic related incident, I try my best what I can lawfully to be able to correct that behavior at the lowest level possible and leave them with as best of a taste as they can have in their mouth of dealing with law enforcement, after their incident, whether that's, running a stop sign or being in a domestic situation or, doing some sort of felonious criminal activity. One of the stories I like to tell, I don't think I've ever told it on here, but some years back, when I was a detective for the Pulaski County Sheriff's Office, I worked in what they call the person crimes division, or worked in the detective division, but I was assigned to persons crimes. And I had a situation where a young man had committed a felonious act and had shot somebody numerous times. This individual went on the run for a day or two. I don't recall exactly, but ultimately he was found, and I was the investigator that was on duty at the time he was found, and I was called in to talk to him. So when I came in to talk to him, it wasn't my case, but I was able to develop a rapport with this individual and get an understanding of what had occurred. He broke down the entire incident to me, from why he did what he did, how he did it, where the weapon was involved, so forth and so on. So it was a case closure, right? As far as we were able to get the victim some justice. But I was very proud of that. But what I was really proud of is that as I had to book this individual into the Pulaski County Regional Detention Facility, he asked if he could have my phone number, and when he got out of the penitentiary, if he could give me a call, and he actually gave me a hug. And that may sound a little sappy to you or whatever, but what it meant to me is that he believed in what I was telling him, because we all are born from the same in the same way, and I call it traveling down the road, and we take some of us take a left, some of us take a right, some of us go straight. We never know what road we got on and why we got on it, but it led us down that road. So I don't believe in casting people to the side just because they committed a crime. I do believe in rehabilitation, second and third chances. I do know that there are people out there that don't want those chances, and they would just soon as sit in a cell for the rest of their life. That's their choice, and they can do that. However, I believe the approach that I bring to the table is firm, fair, consistent, and I'll add to that rehabilitative. That's not what God put me on this earth to do, but He did put me on this earth to develop teams and programs that can do that. So my strong suit is accountability and law enforcement, and then I will partner with the community and advisory boards to cut down on the recidivism rate. But anyway, that was just my way of going down and telling you about a story, a little bit more about me, of a particular incident that was around 2017 or so, 16, 17. I was very proud of that. Young man is in the penitentiary now, and I look forward to him, because I don't change my number. I look forward to him when he gets out to reaching out to me and seeing if we can't provide him some guidance and assistance going forward. So, all right, Kristen, it says community policing. All right, yep, I just spoke about that. Law enforcement is just doing their job. If someone is following the laws, there shouldn't be any issues. I agree, Kristen. For I would say an overwhelming majority, you're exactly right. Law enforcement is just doing their jobs. For me to say that there are no law enforcement officers out there that might be outside the boundaries at some point, I've never personally seen it. I know it exists. For me to think that there are people out there that never makes a mistake or not doing something they maybe not should be doing, regardless if they're a doctor, a lawyer, a store clerk, or a law enforcement professional. I know that happens, but you're exactly right. I tell that to people all the time. When I make my traffic stops or respond to a reactive call, or I engage through some proactivity through a high crime rate area, tell people, hey, we're just out here doing our jobs. I am here to enforce the law, to combat crime. In particular, I tell them that I am seeking guns, violent acts, and drugs. Those are the things that tear a community apart quicker than any other. And that's what I'm heavily concentrated on as I'm out doing my policing within the community I serve. So it's never personal. It's all business and professional. It's about doing our job, right? So if we can save a life, save a child from, following the examples that they might be set forth in a bad, in a bad way, a bad example, then we're doing our job. And if that means that a person has to spend a night in jail, that person has to get a citation, that person has to be, reprimanded in whatever fashion, so be it. It is the law. It is the Arkansas Rules of Criminal Procedure, the United States Constitution, the Constitution of the state of Arkansas. Could you imagine this, Kristen? I wouldn't want to imagine it, but imagine a society without law enforcement. Lord have mercy. Man, I'm glad we have them. I'm glad that there are people like me that have stepped up, that serve their communities with full passion and heart and dedication. And I just believe that, every one of them out there tries their best to be firm, fair, and consistent. And the ones that are not will generally rear their ugly heads pretty quickly. That's why we have things like internal affairs division, professional standards units, community complaint departments, judges, supervisors. I think there's a pretty good checks and balances out there. We have body cameras, car cameras that allow for accountability and transparency. I would say, particularly the groups that I have worked with over the years, very much professionals at what they do. And at the end of the day, their intentions were great and just, even though they might have made a mistake or an error, but they held themselves accountable for it and correct their actions. So some of us take that second chance and get it right and help others and try to do the same. Yeah, Kristen, I think, that's a great statement. I think that the fact that you commit a law violation doesn't mean that you've been cast away. I've spoke openly about the the private business that I own, Diamond State Canine, located at 6523 Dalloway Road, partnered with Devin Kellenhofer on the Diamond State Canine Paw Spa. We have hired many people that have had some law violations, law interactions, some convictions, and I have often stated that I probably should rename the name of the business to Second Chance Canine, right? So just because I believe in second chances, and possibly even a third, people will make mistakes. I've made them. You'll make them. For us to say that we will not make them is not not ever a good thing, right? So we're all fallible. We all have issues, that we could make, right? So it's all about what you do with those opportunities. One of the best pieces of advice that I've ever been given by an old mentor of mine by the name of John Gardner. I'll share that with you. Those of you who have ever spent any time around me have probably heard me say this. This was probably 20 years ago now, maybe a little longer. I went to him and just talked to him about what he had going in his life and how I thought he was living life right and had all the right pieces to the puzzle put in place. And I was just impressed, And I sat down and talked with him. And one of the things that he spoke about was really, there was three. He said, Chris, if you do the right things for the right reasons, you'll be blessed for it. So I took that out of it. The other one was, people like to say, when am I going to get my opportunity? And he said, Chris, let me tell you, opportunity knocks every single day. It's just a matter if you're prepared to open the door and accept that opportunity. So that was two. And then thirdly, what he said was, is that if you will always think about others before you think about yourself, that will help you make the right decision. How does this impact others more than yourself, right? So look at that. And I've always tried to live by that, but I try to do the right things for the right reasons. And I tell you that story because of what Kristen just said there, that some people take the second chances, right? And do something with it. And so I believe the opportunity, the second chance, the third chance, the fourth chance is there for people. But there comes a point when people are not accepting those chances, those opportunities. Well, then you have no other choice but to, heavy-handedly put that down on them. So let me see. Ori, welcome, Ori. Thank you for tuning into my live. Due to the increased rate of traumatic events, what are your plans for any programs for the officers that will assist them in dealing with the trauma so that they can come back to the job and continue to serve the citizens and have support in dealing with those traumatic events? Excellent question, Ori. Excellent. Thank you so much for that. I'll highlight that there for folks. So I believe in mental health. I believe in mental fitness. I believe in personal days. I believe in, employee counseling services. I believe in professional counseling services. I believe in the chaplain corps. There is a great program out there that is called Rally Point. I've attended one or two of their meetings. I do have people on my team that are on the board of directors with them. That is a nonprofit organization designed for first responders and military. We have had one meeting with my current organization to talk about what that looks like and having wellness programs. That is critical. That is huge, right? So, Ori, first responders see more in a career than military veterans see when they go respond to a war-torn country. I'm not delineating between the two on what's worse. That's not what I'm saying. What I am saying is that a police officer, a paramedic, an EMT, a fireman, these first responders, they see, dead children, dead adults, violent injuries, personal victims of crime. We see that day in and day out, and those traumas stack up over time, right? And then you have the ultimate, right? So those are deadly uses of force that officers have had to deal with, whether they've implied it, been involved with it, not implied it, applied it, or, been involved with, so forth. So mental health is huge with me, right? So we will definitely have a wellness program. We will definitely have days set aside for personal mental fitness, and that will be at the forefront of our people. So I don't know if you've ever tuned into one of my lives, Ori. I know we've talked in the past, but that's one of the things I do in the United States Air Force Air National Guard component. I'm a first sergeant that is responsible for health, morale, welfare, and discipline within a unit, right? So the health and morale and the welfare, that goes hand in hand with mental fitness, right? That's family fitness, financial fitness, personal fitness, mental fitness. It all comes together, right? So we will definitely have programs in there and partner with places like Rally Point and local counselors, chaplains, and agencies and programs to ensure that our mental fitness is as good as it can be. So it's all you spend a lot of time and money getting people trained in these professions, right? So why would you not want to provide as much resources as you can to keep them mentally fit, physically fit, and duty fit to return back? So I agree, right? So that's what it would look like under the Lowery administration, and I believe in that wholeheartedly. That is definitely goes under the leadership and experience that I have to bring to the table to make Jefferson County Sheriff's Office a premier agency once again in the state of Arkansas. So uh, let's see. Kim, do the right thing. And when you get done with that, do the next thing. Couldn't said it better. Yes, do the right thing. To tell you a little bit more about me, there was a guy, I mentioned it one other time. Sometimes he listens, sometimes he don't. But I work for a guy, Captain Joe Garza with the Pulaski County Sheriff's Office. Shout out to him. Great guy. But probably 10 years ago, he told me something along these lines, and it was, Chris, it's too easy to do the right thing. If it's in policy, do it this way. It's too easy to follow policy. It is too easy to do the right thing. So I agree with that. Do the right thing and then do the next right thing, right? And just do your best. If your intentions were pure, if your intentions were good, if your intentions were just, it's fine. We will fall, we will stumble, we will make mistakes. But as long as your intentions were good, if you can justify what you did and explain the process, then absolutely. And that applies to not just a law enforcement perspective, but everything you do, right? So agree, do the right thing. I love that, love that, love that. So I have another organization for you if you need it, first responders oriented as well. That's, hey, I love it, Kim. Shoot it to me, shoot it in a private message if you want. I'd love to. There is no reason to not have an arsenal, right, full of resources, right? Arsenals are not just about weapons. Let's have an arsenal, a toolbox of different places that we can utilize to partner to make things better, right? You know as well as a first responder that we need those resources, people to talk to, people to coping skills and ways to deal with that. So yeah, I would never turn that down. So my mind goes, over a lot of stuff as we sit here and talk. And as I'm looking up, Kristen, I want to make sure, do me a favor, Kristen, send me your email address. I know, we've talked a lot through Facebook Lives and a little bit of messaging, but send me your email address. I want to send you something that about what the jail advisory board looks like, right? And what the intent behind that is. I understand it's going to be a working document, right? But message me or text me your email address. I'll be glad to share that with you and just get your input on it, on what you think. I know recidivism is a huge priority for you. I think you agree with me that if we can lower that number, that we will be better for it, right? So everybody's coming home at some point, so let's make them better as possibly as needed. So anyway, as we move forward this live tonight, I didn't realize I was going to be over an hour, but I don't mind at all. I enjoy doing this. I love speaking with you guys and gals about things that are going on in the community. One thing I would like for you to do, several of you are what I would call my regular viewers. Please share with me or share with your friends, your Facebook friends, make a comment out there, make a status that I will be going live again tomorrow night at 6:30 and discussing some of this stuff more in depth and answering questions. I would love to get this up to 100 people or better on there, right? Everybody talks about being changed, and I know bringing change into the county. And I know everybody has a busy schedule and a busy life, uh, but find a few moments to log in tomorrow night. Check out Chris Lowery for Jefferson County Sheriff's Facebook page, Lowery4sheriff.com. Look at my vision, look at my experience, look at my pedigree, what I have. And if you can, tune in tomorrow night and understand my platform and what direction I'll be taking Jefferson County Sheriff's Office to aid Jefferson County in transitioning from a county that is about people leaving to about people staying, making it a destination department and a destination county instead of one where people are leaving. It's like what I say many times about stopping the bleed, right? So it's all about bringing our population back up, lowering the crime rate, getting people to spend their tax dollars or their dollars back into our community where our tax dollars will be invested back into our infrastructure. I don't think there's a need for raising taxes. That's not what I'm about. I believe that if I can just take the person who typically has been going to Sheridan Walmart or Little Rock Walmart, you just take that percentage of person and get them to where they feel safe to go to our Walmart, work with the Walmart company, right, to cut down on any crime that's happening over there, set a level of expectation over there. If you could get those people who go to Grant County or Pulaski County and spend their tax dollars to start spending them here, I don't know what that number actually looks like, but I would tell you, I believe it would definitely have a direct impact on our financial status at the city and local county government level as well. That's just one business, but that's a large business. But you're talking about all of your restaurants, your hotels. If we can get people to want to stay at a Pine Bluff hotel, we're building two of them. The casino is building one, and they're building one attached to the convention center. I just believe spending money right in our community will allow our tax base to grow, and then allow our tax base to grow, allowing for infrastructure to happen. And then by reducing those crime, infrastructure happens, more things get built here, more improvements happen. People outside of Pine Bluff start hearing, whoa, it's not as bad as what it was. I hear what Sheriff Lowery and the entire county is doing, right? They see that it's going down. They see the crime rates going down. They see the community and infrastructure is going up. Then they start visiting here at some of our great historical areas, at some of our new sites. And then that's more money coming into our community. And when we have things like the King Cotton Classic or Homecoming, more people are willing to come here, stay here, spend their money here, right? So that's what it looks like. And I think that's how our community can benefit by me being the sheriff at using my number one priority, which is being tough on crime. I'm telling you, crime hurts families, neighborhoods, and businesses. Being tough on crime just means holding people accountable with fairness, protecting victims and law-abiding citizens, and the community will flourish if we flush out this crime. And I believe within 365 days, I can lower this crime rate by 50%. I believe I have the ability to have the team and the experience to lead the current workers over there to buy into the sheriff's intent, the sheriff's why, remind them of what we do, how we do it, make it more efficient, partner with the local agencies, and you will see a drastic reduction in crime. When people know it's not tolerated, they don't do it, right? I mean, if you're the type of person, think about it like this. If you're the type of person, a lot of us have raised children or we work with coworkers and they know you can't talk to them in a certain way, or they can't treat you a certain way. Guess what they do? They don't do it. If your child knows that you expect to say, yes, ma'am, no, ma'am, yes, sir, no, sir. If your coworker knows they can't call you out your name without you holding them accountable for it, they don't do it, right? So very much in the criminal element, same type of deal. When we hold you accountable, when you're going to be expected to have tags on your car, register your car, wear your seatbelt, not drive down the road smoking marijuana, drinking beer, not carrying guns illegally, not shooting guns, not stealing, robbing, doing drugs, right? When we hold you accountable for that, you quit doing it. You go somewhere else or you quit doing it. Because if it's done here and you know you're held accountable, you will not do it. So, Ben Reynolds, would you say that the major or violent crime in the area is targeted? Let's see. Would you say that major, I guess you're saying a majority of violent crime in the area is targeted? Um, I think there's some truth to that. I think an overwhelming majority, innocent people do have crimes committed against them. I do not believe that innocent people um, have violent crime committed against them at a large scale, right? So I'd like to explain that. So when you have a situation, I know I've worked many shootings, right, that seem to have a drug nexus, a drug sale gone wrong, some other criminal element tied to that, right? So nobody should ever get shot or robbed. But when you're selling drugs and you end up getting shot or you end up getting robbed, I think those two things go hand in hand. So I do think it's targeted amongst the criminal element. Um, I don't believe that there is a large scale violent crime being committed against law abiding citizens. Does it happen? Absolutely. Yes, I do. But do I believe that a majority, which I think that's what your question is saying, would you say that a majority of violent crime in the area is targeted in the area? So I would say that it's targeted amongst other criminals, right? So as they would say in the streets, whatever, some get back or get street credibility or whatever that looks like to you. Hopefully, I've explained that and you understand what I mean by that. So uh, it happens in that lifestyle on a regular basis. So yes, so when you live a certain lifestyle, there's certain things that come with that, right? So, but to your point, it jumped right in there. Lori says accountability for small crimes will definitely prevent a lot of big ones. Yes, I love that. That's the broken window theory that we believe in law enforcement that I believe in wholeheartedly. And let me explain that to you guys that maybe don't get it. Imagine a house. Somebody comes by and breaks a window, breaks the living room window out. If nobody repairs that window, the next rock thrower thinks it's okay to break that window, and then the next window, and then the next window, and then next thing you know, they think it's okay to kick in the door, and then next thing you know, right? It's small crimes. Small crimes do make for big ones. So when you hold people accountable on the lower level crimes, some people call them petty crimes. I don't believe in petty crimes. I believe in misdemeanors. I believe in felonies. If you look at the Arkansas Rules of Criminal Procedure, there is nothing that says petty crimes, right? I believe there's low-level misdemeanors, and then there's high-level felonies, and then there's many in between. But I believe holding accountable for all of them, because I do believe, just like Lori says, that accountability for small crimes will prevent a lot of big ones. I believe that. You can't. It'd be tough to convince me otherwise. I won't say you can't, but I would say for the most part that is accurate. I would be willing to listen to an argument otherwise, but it would take you some strong convincing, some proof, and some real hardcore data that would show me otherwise. So Ben, I really butchered that. Was trying to multitask. Majority of violent crime in the area is targeted versus random. Yes, they're the ones that I've responded to that I can tell you that I have personal knowledge of, that I have personally been on scene from a house shot up, a person shot. I would say that it goes along with what I was talking about a while ago, that it is more targeted than random. Does random acts of violence happen? Yes. I think that once you start peeling back the onion a lot of times, sometimes what you believe could be random is not necessarily random. This community as a whole, I'm seeing things that I've never seen before that just baffles me. And I'm trying to get a pulse on why that is. And I've told this story before, but I have been on shooting scenes and then done a neighborhood canvas, right? So what that looks like is you go to a crime that has been committed, and then you go door to door, neighbor to neighbor, and try to, did you see, did you hear, find out information to help you solve that crime, right? So I have personally seen multiple times amongst this community is people say, I didn't see anything, I didn't hear anything, this is normal, right? So I believe that we're in a bad situation when people start normalizing shootings and violent acts. That should never be normal anywhere in the United States of America, in particular Arkansas, and in particular Jefferson County. If we have grown to that, ladies and gentlemen, we have failed, period, right? So we've got to change that. There's nothing about shootings or violent acts of being normal. Now, you could be not surprised because we do rank in the bottom 1% of all counties, right? You could be not surprised when it happens, but never say it's normal. Words matter, right? And to normalize a shooting, to normalize a terroristic act, to normalize a violent act, that saddens the tar out of me to think that someone in this community thinks it is acceptable. Because when you say normal, I hear acceptable, which I hear tolerated. And that's where we've gotten to where we're at. Acceptable, normal, and tolerated. No more. No more. 2026, make your voice be heard, right? We just got a new police chief in the city of Pine Bluff. Whitehall does a great job at combating crime. I believe Redfield does as well. Those small town communities pour into their resources. But we're talking about Jefferson County as a whole. This isn't just about Pine Bluff. This is about Jefferson County as a whole. And the leader of that department, the sheriff, the top law enforcement official for that county, has got to have those working relationships and aid those communities to mold themselves into a program that is working in these other communities, right? So anyway, that's what that looks like. Christian says, late to the party, and we're trying to pack up. Proud to be pops, going out and trying to make a better Jefferson County. Thank you, son. I appreciate it. There's nothing more complimentary than to have one of your own kids give you a compliment like that. So I appreciate it so much. As always, I'm very proud of you. If you don't know, Christian serves in the United States Air Force, currently stationed down in Florida. Recently married. Shout out Sam, my new daughter-in-law. She's getting ready to make a move to a different state to serve in the Air Force as well. I'm going to be separated from her newly wedded husband for a short period of time, hopefully, and the Air Force will come around and put those two newlyweds back together. But thank you so much for that praise or compliment, Christian. It means a lot that one of my own children recognize that and know that I'm trying to do the right things for the right reasons. So anyway, ladies and gentlemen, I am about ready to get off of here for the night. Been on here an hour and 15 minutes. I really just wanted to promote tomorrow night's live, as I go live every Monday, 6:30 to 7:30. I would ask you to do a couple of things for me before I get off here. I would ask you to think about what your perspective, what you feel is needed to be changed in Jefferson County. I would like to hear something that you have personally witnessed or experienced. The experiences are more than the witnessing, but I would take either or to discuss with me about what you have had happen to you from the sheriff's office or the county government, or for that matter, your local government, whether you live in the city limits of Whitehall, Redfield, Pine Bluff, Altimer, Humphrey, whatever, right? I would be interested to hear what has happened to you. The last thing I would like to do is encourage you to please like and share my page, follow my page, Chris Lowery for Jefferson County Sheriff, and try to get your friends list. Encourage them as your friends on Facebook to go out and like and share and follow my page, because we as a county need it, right? We need the word spread. We need people to understand the message and the change that's needed within Jefferson County. And I cannot do this by myself. I cannot police, sheriff the entire county by myself. It takes deputies. It takes the community. I cannot get elected into office by myself. It takes the community. It takes your vote. It takes you spreading the word. sharing the information and leading others to come to the Lowery4sheriff campaign and earn their vote. So, Kim, I hear you. I hope you're not on a call when you go live. That's fine. If you are, watch when you can. Try to get all of them, all the easy ambulance drivers tomorrow. Ask them to go out there because as I listen to the radio, monitor the radio, and I respond to calls involving you guys, I definitely want to hear y'all's perspective, whether that's from the sheriff's office or you just say policing as a whole. Because I will tell you, I'll talk about it tomorrow night, but there was an incident that I overheard through radio traffic yesterday that didn't sit well with me. And it involved you guys, easy, our EMTs and our paramedics and our other first responders. And it involved the sheriff's office. And I don't think it was right, but I would like to hear your perspective. It's not going to be ousting anybody. It's just going to tell you what I would do differently. So hopefully you have a safe night tomorrow night. Thank you so much for what you did for my family recently as of last Tuesday. Shout out to Easy, the ones that responded, the ones that transported, and then the ones that transferred, right? So you all did a great job. You know what I'm talking about, Kim. Thank you so much. I just left from up there a while ago doing my visit for the day, and things are looking up. Still not great, but looking up. Thank you for asking about him and our situation. So thank you so much. Again, go to Lowery4sheriff.com. Go to my Facebook page, Chris Lowery for Jefferson County Sheriff. Encourage your friends to come on to the live tomorrow night at 6:30, where we'll be having some great content and conversations. And bring your questions to me, your situations, your stories. We want to hear it. Also, lastly, I want to throw out there, if at any time any of you ever want to go live with me, I will send you an invite where you can jump right on there. That'll be easily done. And we will encourage you to come tell your story, right? So we will do that as we move forward in our campaign with as many people that want to kind of go live with you guys as it is. But anyway, have a great night. Hopefully your new year is starting off well. And if you have any questions before now and then, you can reach me at 870-556-0330. Thank you so much. And as always, God bless Jefferson County.